one principle governing warfare we can call soldiers are fair game. Soldiers are subject to attack at any time unless they're captured or wounded. So if you're a soldier, you can be targeted whenever, doesn't matter. And kind of in the background, there's this calculation offered. This calculation motivating a lot of approaches to the ethics of warfare. In war, we're to engage in actions that satisfy two conditions. One is that the action's got to be needed to force submission of the enemy. You can't get the enemy to submit without it. And then condition two is that you do so with the least possible means of time, money, and life. So one concerns the amount of force you use. The other concerns the resources you use. And so if you can get the enemy to submit by killing one person, and you can get the enemy to submit by nuking them, you go with just killing the one person. And if you can have a lot of your soldiers die and pay a lot of money or take a lot of time to do it, or you can do it with no soldiers dying and only a little bit of money and time, then you go with the option that takes less resources. Do what you got to do to get the enemy to submit, but no more. Use the resources that you need to do that, but no more. And in the background of this, soldiers are figured into this calculation. Soldiers are fair game, but non-combatants, civilians, non-combatants are off limits. One way to think about it is that there's a very high standard that has to be met for non-combatants to be harmed, and you can't just straight up target them. And in general, non-combatants aren't allowed into this calculation here. So if targeting all of the civilians of a country is necessary to get the enemy to submit, off limits. Look for another option. Okay, so there's this distinction between soldiers and non-combatants. But what's the difference between a soldier, a combatant, and a non-combatant? Well, there are cases that kind of blur the line. There's naked soldiers. A naked soldier, that's the sort of thing that happens when, like, just out of nowhere, a sniper, for example, gets the chance to kill somebody who's completely oblivious and unaware. And they see them as they are, vulnerable and as a human. And some people think that blurs the line between combatant and non-combatant. Then there are munitions workers. What about the people who make ammo, who work in ammo factories? Are they fair game? They're not fighting? And what about merchant seamen? There's a case that Walzer talks about, that we'll talk about in more detail, of seamen who ship military supplies to soldiers. Are they fair game? Or do they count as combatants, non-combatants? And then what about just people who supply food or healthcare to your enemy? Do they count as combatants? Are they fair game, or are they off limits? So it's hard to give a precise definition. There's a lot of blurry stuff here, and the weaker side is going to say, hey, no, because of military necessity, these people are not off limits. Go ahead and attack them. And the stronger side might say otherwise. So hard to give a precise definition, but Walzer gives this suggestion, this general idea about the difference. He says, in general, we've all got a right not to be killed. We all start out with that right. We've all got it. Soldiers have it. Non-combatants have it. But there are things you can do to forfeit that right. And so to take one of the clearer examples, if soldiers from one side start attacking people on the other side, they've forfeited their right. They're fair game.